Gordhan says there is a sense of agency to ensure the country's economy does not fall into junk status. Minister Gordhan has been in London meeting with the investors to tell them that South Africa's economy is stable and under control. Our UK correspondent has been meeting with the minister and started by asking him what concerns investors in Britain have.
On the one hand, they understand our budget numbers and they understand that we've done very well as far as managing expenditure and revenue and debt and the deficit is concerned. Secondly, they want to know where are we going to get growth in our economy from. And thirdly, whether we can assure them that our key institutions, the Reserve Bank, the Treasury and other institutions are operating in a way that they have learnt how they operate in the past. And that's the assurance that we've been able to give, that we are all doing our job and we are trying to get the economy going. But importantly, we are involved in conversations with both the business sector and the trade unions to create a joint South African team that can create confidence in the South African economy and in South African society. And so far, we've had positive responses.
The difficulties that were faced in the finance ministry in December hit the headlines worldwide and put the South African economy in the spotlight really for the wrong reasons. How tough has that made your job?
Well, we've had 7 weeks in order to tie up the budget in 2016. And as a government team and as a Treasury team, we've done very well to present a coherent picture, as I said, about managing government finances, knitting together a plan that will try to take the economic growth to a new level, and above all, involving other role players in society who have a big influence in our economy, be it business or be it labor, and getting them into a partnership that begins to sell South Africa as one that is continuing as a favorable investment destination, whether you're interested in our debt or whether you're interested in shares on the Joburg Stock Exchange or whether you want to come and invest in the real economy of South Africa.
How serious is the threat of that downgrade in terms of going to junk, and what would it mean for the ministry and South Africa?
But as a country, I don't think we want to get into junk status. Nor does the corporate sector want to be in junk status, nor do workers want their companies to be in junk status, nor do South African citizens who are going to face higher inflation, higher costs, higher prices for imported commodities or goods want to be in a country where we find ourselves in that position. And that's why we have the sense of urgency from all of us to work together to sell one South African story and to get people to believe in our story. But they're not going to believe it just because we say so. What they're also asking for is tangible proof that we are moving in a different direction, that we are collaborating with one another, and that we have concrete projects which will demonstrate that collaboration is not just in words, but in action.
Finally then, can you sum up the message that you want to put out to global investors when it comes to investing in South Africa?
Look at the world today, as one of the business people said this morning, there's no absolutely stable environment anywhere in the world, either in the advanced economies or in the emerging markets. So at the end of the day, it's about risk and reward. And South Africa has the best business infrastructure on the African continent. It's got a very highly sophisticated financial and services sector, and there are huge opportunities for growth in the real economy. But equally, we've had a very steady and prudent fiscal policy for the last 15 to 20 years in our democracy, and there's no reason to doubt us in terms of our ability to pay our debt whenever it becomes due, which is what the credit rating agencies and investors are interested in. And similarly, the Joburg Stock Exchange gives marvelous returns to those who are invested in South African company shares. So on a comparative basis, we still constitute an excellent proposition for investors into South Africa.
A very good morning to you. Let's bring you some sports news now.